teach you how to do it. That's the Elevation Academy route. You scan here, right? If you're handling it yourself, totally fine. We're here for you either way. These are the people who support me. The really fun thing about this slide is that it's missing two people, which makes my heart really happy. And so it's not just me in the world. There are these other people who look really nice with the tree backdrop at Railroad Park. So I appreciate all of them. I don't know if any of them are here today. If they're not, I will fuss about that in Slack. All right. Also, so let's jump right into why we're here. This is what I hope to accomplish. Okay. One, I want to remind you of what core marketing can include. And I mean, like, seriously, core marketing. I also want to draw connections from the boring stuff to the exciting stuff. And that's really why you're here. You're not really here for the boring stuff. And this is kind of why I wanted to do this particular topic, because it's boring. And I want you to know that it can be exciting. So we're going to define the core marketing elements. We're going to choose what those daily elements are and talk about how you do that. And then we're going to draw that connection. And then here I will answer any question you have for me related to this presentation, or where to find sneakers on sale, whatever you want to ask at that point. All right, I'm a nerd. This is an Apple core. So we're going to define core marketing elements. I was really sleepy when I chose photos for this presentation. So let's start there. So we're going to go actually through the 4 P's of marketing, right? So let's start with product. And this is just my very quick either reminder or information overload, likely, of what those 4 core P's are. There are other P's. We're just going to talk about the 4 core. So your product, right? What is it? What's the thing, right? What's the design of it? What is the technology of it? How is it packaged? What features does it have? And so one element of marketing that a lot of people don't realize, and you'll hear me say that a lot today, is that how you define what kind of technology you use, or how the design of your branding is all marketing stuff. So whether you use a curly Q because you're maybe going after younger women, as opposed to a hard edge because you're going after men, all of that goes into thinking about how you plan to use it in the future. So the other thing we want to think about is the handling of the thing when we think about defining our product and our core marketing elements. So what's the process for me getting the product, right? And I mean, really, really literally, you say it's for sale. I say, cool, where do I get it? Where do I click? How do I get it to my office? Is it on Zoom, or do I get it shipped? Like, what is the process? Also, how do I return it? What if I'm not happy? What's the customer service side of that? And that could be retail, it could be services, it could be co-working, it could be whatever you think, that it could be an organization. Everyone's not always happy with what we provide, though we wish they would be. They're not. So we have to make sure in the definition of the thing in all its glory, how do we handle that thing so that we can communicate that later? Then we have the effect of the thing, which is more of our audience view. And on each element, I'm going to give you a couple questions that you need to be ready to answer when you're developing this portion of your core marketing. So how does it address the customer's need? You are here to offer a solution. You need to be able to say how your product or service does that. What are the differentiators? Why you, right? How is yours different? Is it a price thing? Is it a size thing? What is that game that you're playing on for what makes you different? And then how does the customer define quality in your space? Now, as much as we would like to believe as brand managers or business owners, entrepreneurs, that it's about what we think is quality, but you need to be very well aware of what your audience thinks is quality in your industry. If you don't know that, you're just operating in your own little bubble. You may or may not be right. They may think that what you're doing is good, but they may not necessarily think that it's the best quality. So you want to find out their definition of quality in that space. Everybody got that? Questions, comments, concerns? Emotional breakdowns? All right, I like nodding heads. Yes, Francis, thank you, girl. All right. Let's move on to price. This is one of my favorite pictures. Now, of course, price seems very simple on the core marketing elements. What is the actual list price? What are the discounts? Now, a lot of people don't realize that pricing strategy is a big part of core marketing. This is something that, when you get into the large businesses, they consider marketing specialists when they're trying to determine price. And if you think about like a luxury brand, if I go and sell my Louis Vuitton bags for $29.99 at Target, I'm going to get a different kind of feel here, right? So now there's certainly a difference between the people I'm after and maybe the people that I'm getting. And so thinking about that, what you're going to list as, how can you discount, or what types of discounts will you do? What are the terms of that price, right? How are you doing this as I purchase this one thing, you give me money this one time and we're done? Is it a subscription? Is it something that's recurring? What are the terms of that? When is it terminated, right? You also want to be aware of what the price of substitutes are. As much as we would like to believe that what we're offering, even just looking at the people in our industry, is the solution, that's not true. When they're not doing your thing, using your product, they're doing something else, right? If I was doing face wash, for instance, that'll come up later, and I said, hey, I am selling this face wash because clearly your face is dirty. You're not washing it any other way unless you use my face wash. That's not true. They're using that Dove bar that they wash their body with, and that's their alternative. So the question is, what's the price of that substitute? What could they put there in place of what you're offering? So you need to consider that. Also, the price of handling. So is there shipping involved? Do you have to buy labels? And that goes right into cost. Do you have marketing overhead? All of that's something that you have to consider in price, and it's going to play a part in how you present your business in the daily marketing aspect. Now, on the audience view of price, here's some questions you need answers to. What are they willing to pay, right? What do they actually think? Again, this goes back to what they think the value is, or what they think is considered the best thing. What are they willing to pay for it? Two things to think about in that. One, so that you know that you're priced competitively and accordingly, but also so that you don't leave money on the table. Like if they say, oh, I would totally pay $20 for that, and you're charging $9.99, you just left $10.01 on the table. Kick the price up, right? That's the value that they have described to you. Charge what they say it's worth. That's okay. What are the non-financial barriers? So even though we're talking about pricing, we want to think about what else might be keeping them from committing. And so you can't assume that it's always a price thing. It may be something else, right? It may be that there's a family makeup or something where they can't do the case. It could be a location thing. There are a lot of things that might keep people from committing. So when you think about price, if price isn't an issue, what else might come into play? And so we just want to make sure we're considering all of that. Then you have the cost to overcome those barriers. You're going to have, just like with marketing and overhead, if you wanted to be able to overcome whatever you've decided are these non-financial barriers, or whatever you have discovered is the price that they're willing to pay, what does it cost you to overcome that? If they say, well, I really want to come to Forge, but I just don't have any transportation, you're like, guess what? We are offering a via Birmingham system pass for you for the first month. How much does that cost you to overcome that for them, so that they can decide this is for me? And now, you know what? I'll take on that cost after that first month because I love it so much, right? That's what we want to get them to. And so if you're going to offer something to help overcome that, you have to consider that as a part of your own costs, which factors into the price. Y'all with me? Marketing 101. We're in college right now. All right, great. Now, if I can't see your face and you're like, no, I'm not with you, I'm so sorry. But these first 5 boxes, they are with me. All right. Next is place. All right. So place is exactly what it sounds like. And it also should be considered in the core elements of your marketing. What channels are you going to use? And these could be digital channels. They could be more traditional marketing channels like print, or we think about things like podcasts now if you're going to do advertising. Location, if you have a physical location, that's something to consider. If you're going to do e-commerce, also something to consider. If you need a trade location, and this of course gets into our more industrial people. Also, this is a good time for me to make my disclaimer that my 4-year-old is here. No children were harmed in the making of this webinar. So if it sounds like he's dying, he is yet alive. All right, so trade location. Now, on the audience side of that, we need to ask a couple questions. What is their preferred place to receive this product or service, right? Now, for people like a co-working space, this is where it is, right? But also it may be another question is how far are they willing to travel to access that thing that you're offering? Also want you to think about things like pop-ups, right? If you decide I'm going to do some pop-ups, or even that I am going to go and give out information about my business, where do they prefer to get that information? Where do they prefer to take advantage of your product? How far are they willing to travel to experience that? Also, where do they seek out this information? So back to if you decide to, I think about like your Birmingham Business Journal events. You have all these vendors and people are like, is your audience there? Do they care to seek that information out while they're there? And those are the questions you want to answer about place. So not only where it's happening, where your product is being given, or where they're taking advantage of your service, but also where you're providing them more information. What is that place as well? Still with me? Yeah, north and south. All right. Thank you, Claudia. I appreciate that. All right, now this is another favorite picture because the answer is yes, I do feel tired. All right, so next we're on promotion, which this is a really good picture actually because it speaks directly to the pain point, right? The problem is I don't know what she's selling. Now, promotion is going to be about exactly what it sounds like. Your marketing communications, personal promotion, which is a big deal, especially in social media life. Sales, which everybody has to sell. I know sales is a dirty word, but everyone has to sell. There's no life. Okay, let me put it this way. You're not making money if you're not selling. It's just the bottom line. You call it what you want to, but you're not making money if you're not selling. Also, this is where people get the overlap of public relations and marketing. First, let me make this disclaimer. They are not the same thing, okay? PR and marketing are not the same. They do play in the same playground, but they are not the same thing. PR has a lot to do with your promotion. And if you are going to consider that as a channel for marketing your business, that's how it gets folded into this element of your core marketing, not because PR is marketing. Have to say that out loud. Then you have your direct marketing, and this is going to be me straight to you, right? That's just how we're doing it. You're going to buy it straight from me. You're not going to buy it from a place where we're doing wholesale. You're not going to think about hotels and you're like Expedia.coms. You're not going to buy it from Expedia. You're going to come buy it from Marriott, right? So that's going to be your direct marketing. That's right. They do, Claudia. She said a good salesperson provides solutions and adds value to your organization. Correct. I appreciate that because I need to know what comes after the yes of me feeling tired. Where's the value there, lady? Where is it? All right, on the audience view, the question about promotion is how and when is your customer likely to search for this information? So we immediately think about Google, right? Even though Google, very smart, decided to buy up YouTube because it was actually the largest search engine. A lot of how-tos, a lot of where to get, a lot of reviews about things happen on your YouTube spaces, right? And so you want to figure out how, when, where are they searching? What are they looking for? When is that happening so that I can make sure I get in their way? Also, USP, in case you're not familiar, is for unique selling point. And we've kind of talked about this. Why you? What makes you different so that you can promote that and put that front of mind for people. All right, any questions about promotion? Yeah, I threw y'all off. It's not a yes this time. Any questions about promotion? All right. Kelsey, you're not answering my questions. I don't appreciate it. All right, so now let's talk about the daily elements, okay? And you kind of have to choose, and it's important that I always pause to remind people that you need to develop an avatar. You want to make sure that happens, and that's another kind of core marketing thing. It's not always the most fun, but it is extremely important to know where your audience is, where they're searching, and what answers they need in order to commit to buy from you. And in order to do that, building your avatar looks like being able to tell their daily story. What do they look at on social media? What kind of websites or what kind of things are they doing in the search engine space? And then are they podcast listeners? Do they read magazines? And so we want to think about what daily elements of your marketing do you plan to use? Now, we're going to use this as a bridge to kind of pulling them together. But just to go through these, of course, I listed some. I usually don't go into TikTok YouTube Clubhouse, because y'all don't see that coming. I was on Clubhouse earlier. That was a late ad, and I decided it was a good idea. All right. So Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, all of these spaces, where is your audience, right? Are they looking here? Are they interacting here? That's the answer we need to give. Digital, Google, whether that's my business or Google Ads, do you need to be in that space? Answer is likely yes, but it's okay. Website, you have one, right? Yes. All right, moving on. And then other podcasts, print, trade materials, magazines are still a thing, contrary to what people may believe. There's still a lot of publications that go out, and that may be a thing for you as well, right? Now let's draw the connection. This is like more my life. This is what it looks like on Instagram. All right, here we go. So I made myself a couple things here, and at the end, I'm going to be a beauty brand owner. We'll say I'm living vicariously through my presentations. So let's start with the product element, right? So just as a reminder for your product, and when I say product, please know that that means service or otherwise, right? That's just the P that's in the marketing mix element. Product is whatever you're offering. That's your offering. So just as a reminder, we have design, technology, packaging, features like size and that kind of thing. So over here, let's think about our daily marketing. If I were a beauty brand, for instance, then I may decide to tell people, hey, we use, really nice ingredients. This is what it's made of. These are the sizes that they come in. So these are very kind of literal things that I'm explaining to them. I may even go into, this is, how we make this. So I may decide to show some behind the scenes content, right? So I'm creating content. Not only do I want to show them the end product, but I want to show them the beginning. I want to show them why there's value in paying this price, because look at the hands that made this soap. Don't you want to pay $50 for it? Sure you do, because you realize that that's someone's time. So using that as an element. When you think about features like size, I use a space here instead of a physical product. So you may want to be able to tell people things like, hey, we have this much space for you to operate in, or this room is this size. So if you think about like the event industry, if you're looking for different rooms or different places where you can hold events and they're trying to market to you, then they're likely going to get into the details of, this is the size that it is. This is what's available. There's a wall of windows here. There's outlets everywhere. All of those little things that matter to your audience. All right. Now, these two things at the bottom, these are the fun things. So, right, if we're thinking about social media, then you may decide to speak directly to the pain points of the product, right? So here is Harry Potter, whom I love. And you decide to put something that speaks to the pain point. Let's say I'm still in the beauty industry here. And I say, when somebody tells me that they just throw water on their face, I might put this up as a post and put in the caption to speak to the pain point, like we're not the same person, roll eyes, right? This tells them, yes, you like this because you're this person. This product speaks to how you like to feel in the morning. And people who don't do that, strong side eye, right? Then you also want to think about the effects after they use your product. So here, she's really excited. This might be a caption that says, when my box from Jackie's Beauty brand arrives. Boom. That's all I got to put up there, right? And if it fits my brand, she is so excited. And I've communicated to them how it feels to have this product. Now, I may take time to talk about how it's designed and all of that, but I want to make sure that on the other side of that, I speak to the effect that it has on their life, going back to knowing what my solution is. Questions about that? Yeah, y'all are quiet today. Okay. We'll keep it moving. All right, so next core element was price. So as a reminder, we got list price, we got discounts, we have terms, price of substitutes, handling, cost for marketing, and overhead, right? So over here, and these are mostly all image-based. I'm gonna definitely tell you what captions and stuff like that could be. These also could be that it's images for your website, right? We talked about if you decided to use print, these might be the types of images that you use for print. Now, if you've ever noticed in a magazine that a lot of times, especially luxury brands, they don't really say much in their advertising. What they do is represent an idea. And so a lot of times when we say consider price, we don't mean particularly that you have to say the price, all right? You don't have to say the price. Thank you, Leslie. That's okay. You can be quiet. It's fine. I just, I'm mostly talking to Kelsey. Um, and so it may just represent what the pricing is like, right? So here I have all this luxury, who wouldn't want to be here, especially after quarantine life. And then we have this really nice bag that I wish I could snatch off the screen. And so here we have that luxury, and it represents a certain kind of customer, right? That immediately tells me whatever they're selling costs more money than I probably want to pay, right? So we may not be saying the price, but we are representing the price. When we talk about things like discount, and I want to kind of pause here and say this is about understanding how much you can discount. This is when people tell you in business development, know your numbers, know your numbers, know your numbers. But also, you'll notice that certain brands don't discount ever, and some always discount. The question is, who are you after, right? There is a retailer that I love to buy clothes from. I would never buy anything regular price. It's always on sale. Like every day, it's a different sale. It's a different code. It's a different sale. And I'm just not going to do that. Now, I'm not a price shopper always, but I know that about that brand. That's become a part of their marketing for me. And so a lot of times I catch myself holding out to the weekend for the weekend sale because I know something better is coming, right? I miss out on a lot of dresses like that, by the way. But knowing that is important. So here we have things like, handling, come to our location, pick it up here. This is how you get it, right? Let me take you through the process. Come in, buy the thing and go. Or if I'm doing Instagram, for instance, I may decide to give them the information right off. This may be the start to a carousel. Here's how you order. Here's how you work with us. Here's how you get this done. Educate people on what it takes to get the product or the service. That makes sense? Thank you, Kelsey. Way to be there. All right, now let's get into place. As a reminder, place speaks to channels, location, e-commerce, trade locations, if that's applicable, I think is the way I should say that. So here in our little examples, we have things like, of course, your actual geolocation, drop a pin, tell me where you are. But also I want you to remember in the marketing and the daily side of it is that if you're in a particular city, like Birmingham, for instance, you may want to also show elements of your city. You don't have to just show elements of your own stuff. Appreciate your community, shine light on what's around you. And that helps people to know you're a part of a space. That's about location. And that's how that translates to other types of content that you may want to use. Also consider that if people are traveling and they're looking for you, that's why we think about things like Google Ads, a lot of geo tagging, that kind of thing is helpful if someone is in your area and they're searching. So you want to keep that in mind. And if that's something you want to play on, you may decide to use images like this, someone who clearly looks like a traveler, someone who clearly looks like they're looking for something to do, but this is your subtle way of saying, hey, let us guide you, or you're in town, so are we, check us out, right? However you want to word that. Also, if you are into trade shows and things of that nature, you can always use that element. Down here is more about my own life because I don't have, now I work at Forge, so I have a location, at least that's what my mailbox says, but I have no walls, right? And I always tell people I don't necessarily need walls. Walls cost money. So I don't have any walls, but my location is usually Zoom, right? It's usually digital if you're a professional services provider. And so you may decide, if you're a silly brand like mine can be sometimes, to put something like "you're frozen" up. How many times have you heard that in the last year? You're frozen, you're frozen, you're frozen. That's how many times you hear it, like that many times in one conversation. And so you may decide to put this here, and I might put this up and say, don't worry, we'll wait for you, right? Like you can unfreeze, it's fine. But this is something that speaks to the interaction that they're gonna have at my location, right? It's e-commerce, it's all happening online. And I want them to be reminded that that's how we do business. That all makes sense? Yeah. What kind of candy you got, Kim? You brought enough for the class? Would you know?
It's just gum.
Okay. But did you bring enough for the class though?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm prepared.
Well, I want my piece. You put it on my desk. All right. Let's move into promote. Oh yeah, that's the heavy duty You have kids. That's the you have
The
kids
mom
version of
pack.
gum.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the you have kids version of gum. All right, so let's move into promotion, right? As a reminder, marketing communications, personal promotion, sales, PR, direct marketing. Now, in promotion, if you're thinking about the front lines of your marketing, personal promotion is great, right? There's me. I'm sorry if y'all thought I was gonna look like this today, to disappoint you. That's makeup and photography, and I can't do that daily. But I know, like for myself in marketing my brand, I am a big part of the marketing of my brand. I'm a lightning rod for my own company. That personal promotion plays a part into my core element, and I'm aware of that, right? So there you go. That's there. Things like news. If no one else makes a big deal about what's happening in your business, you should. And so all of this, like PR type stuff, sometimes you have to be your own PR. If no one picked up an article about you, put it on your blog and you share it like it came from the New York Times, right? So breaking news, things that are happening in your business, latest news or latest blogs even. Also, then we get down here, and this is kind of a subtle way to say, guess who's in the news, right? I want you to always try to think in your daily marketing, how can you say the thing without saying the thing? You don't have to put the words up there and say, hey, we have a great sale going on, right? So we're talking about promotions and sales. You may put up a picture like this that goes, if you're not in this position, you're missing something, right? She's looking at her computer, that's where you should be. So just trying to find ways to translate what you decided you're going to do in the promotion, excuse me, the promotion aspect, sips diet lemonade, is really important so that you can bring that to imagery. Also, because I really love these, you may have something fun, something like, the sale going on at Jackie's beauty brand, me, actual footage of me and husband, right? He's trying to hand me $1. I'm like, nope, I'll take the wallet. So that may speak to how you want them to feel when they see that promotional aspect of your brand. So using things to communicate, you're going to be excited, bring your wallet, right? That's something that we want people to see in our marketing. Everybody got that? Yeah. See, Kelsey, you're on it now. All right, let's pull it together. Here's Jackie's beauty brand. All right, so this is my little Instagram feed. And this is what and a lot of these pictures you've already seen. Look at me pulling it together. All right, so here is my like actual product. I may just say, and we're talking about the product itself. So thinking about those 4 elements: product, place, price, promotion. So here I may even mention that we have bundles starting at a certain price, right? So this is my kind of straight product post. Then here, I want to speak more to the lifestyle because I'm going to do a kind of higher price point. And so that luxury look is definitely something I want to do. And so I may say something here like, chilling. That's probably what I would say. But if you're not me and you want to be more detailed, you may decide to speak more to the promotional aspect. Like, hey, you're about to go on vacation. We have a sale for you. Something like that, right? Could happen there. But this is a lifestyle kind of post, goes with my really expensive beauty brand. This post is more about me saying how you can get it. If you're traveling, let's say I'm a worldwide brand, I just decided that right in this moment, I may want to remind people that we do have stores all over the globe, right? And so I show this transaction happening. They look so happy to be receiving these bags. They're looking him right in his eye. How staged is that? But I want you to know you can walk in and get my product. And this is how I'm going to show you. I'm not going to say the words, come in, but I'm going to say, we have locations around the world. See, look at the people. Let's assume this is what it looks like, even though that looks like a necklace. Also, let's say my headquarters is in Birmingham. So I have this picture of Birmingham. So everybody knows I'm proud of my city. They have an idea of where my placement is or where I've chosen my headquarters. That's what that post is about. Here is a message from our owner and our founder. Oh my God, she's fabulous. And so that's my way of using myself in promotion, right? Here I go back to product and I talk about maybe some of the elements or ingredients of what it is that I'm offering. Again, continuing to drive down that value. Look at the things we have: essential oils in our soaps. Wow, amazing. And so that's more of that product element. Here, like I was saying earlier, if we decided to do something that was more about placement. We'll change this to a placement post and say, hey, you can shop with us online. We just said you can come in, but we don't want you to think that you can't go online, because of course you can. E-commerce, it's a thing. So that's that. Then we have our carousel. Let's assume you can swipe here, of self-care tips, because not only do I want you to purchase my product, but I also want you to know that this is a lifestyle. You've got to take care of yourself. That's why you need to vacation. All of these things are tied together. You put the best things on your face and on your body. You treat yourself the best. Let me give you a couple tips. That's how I'm translating all of that core stuff to actual content. And then here, similar to, as I said, I'm a global brand. Wherever you are, you can just search for your location and we got you. You couldn't get a travel size in time? No problem. Look us up. I'm going to give some instruction on how you do that and come get our product, right? So that's how we pull all of those things together. And now what appears to be the really boring stuff is what makes that frontline stuff really, really easy. Now, again, these can be Instagram posts, they can be Facebook posts. These could be images for a website. This could be what you choose to use in a publication like a magazine. Any of that could be the case, but you just want to make sure you're being true to what those core elements have told you you wanted to say in the first place. All right, that pretty much wraps it up. As always, I invite you to join the Academy. If you have questions, of course, you can always ask. And if you want to contact One Degree, you can do that way. So,
okay,
boom.
Before we open it up to questions, Jackie, go back to that back screen, because last screen, because I don't think you told people what Elevation Academy is.
Oh, yeah, so check it out. I tend not to do that. I always assume y'all are going to use the QR codes that I spent so much time putting together, guys. Elevation Academy is an online platform. It's basically like a school. You can think of it that way, right? You log in, you have information, resources. I put Canva templates in there, lists of different things that you may be looking for, like email marketing platforms. If you are trying to do your marketing yourself, if you're handling it internally and you just need a little bit of marketing guidance to do better with what you have, Elevation Academy is the move. Most of the things are done by me, and by most, I mean all of the things are done by me. So I am technically your marketing lady, at least via Elevation Academy. So it's a monthly subscription for the low price of $24.99. And you're all welcome to be members. I still have some mugs left. So if you join, I'll send you a mug. They're so cute. Boom. Actually have a member of the Academy up in here today. And then on the other side of that, if you're like, that's cute, but I don't want to, I'm happy to send you an invoice for outsourced services. Those are not the low price of $24.99. You may have to move the decimal 2 places to the right. It depends on what you're looking for. And so if you're looking for One Degree things outsourced, then this is how you do that. All right. Questions, comments, concerns, emotional breakdowns.
Jackie, I'll just, before people ask questions, because I did forget to say this at the beginning, but I love this because, and which is really the heart of why we wanted to do this Marketing Foundations series, because no matter how far along or how beginning you are in business, like this is it. You got to keep going back to the very basics. And so I thought you did a great job of getting us back to the basics that you can't ignore no matter how far you are into your business.
And I really, it's a really good point, Kim, because this is one of the things. Yesterday, I got the grand opportunity to speak at my alma mater at Alabama. And this question came up from one of the current students about marketing, and if I felt like marketing had just become harder because of, digital marketing and social media. And like I told them, like I tell everyone, the channels that you use, the tools that you use, those things are going to change as time goes on. But the one thing that does not change is the core marketing work that you've done. No matter how you decide to get a message across, it's going to be the message that you've come to in your core marketing. So you've got to spend that time doing what a lot of people consider the boring stuff. You've got to decide who your customer is. You have to do that development. You have to build an avatar. You have to really clearly define your message, because you need to know how to take that message from Facebook to TikTok if you decide to, without feeling like there's no way I'm going to make this happen. If you know your message, sure. And if you know your audience, you may not even need to go anyway. And so it helps you and guides you along the way, no matter where you are in business. And if you skip it, you'll be back. It may not be more fun later on, but you will definitely be back to these key elements.
Okay, there's a question from Lakeitha, and she says, what suggestions do you have for starting a YouTube channel? I plan to start one to offer tax and business tips.
So,
It's a good
I
one.
really should holler for my husband, because he apparently has become a YouTube sensation in like the last 6 months. But he is married to a marketing expert. There's that. Now, my suggestion for getting started, do you want the backside suggestion of like building content, or do you want the like pushing it once you started suggestions? Which side of that are you asking about?
Just asking about, should it be a minute long, 2 minutes?
Okay, so like the actual content.
Yeah, I have the material. I mean, it's kind of, but it will be my first time. I know I want to say welcome to my channel at least once, because everybody says that when they, when you're looking at YouTube videos, and then I won't say it anymore. I'll probably have like a phrase that'll be specific for my channel that I say. But so how you feel about those phrases they say in every video? Is that good?
I mean, any way you can brand yourself is a good idea. Like anything you can make people know you by is a good idea. But I would say, especially with video content in general, to just keep in mind that people's attention spans are short, unless they are in some way fully invested in the thing that you're offering. And not that accounting is boring, but if you're not an accountant, it may not be the most fun thing. And I may not want a 45-minute video on tax tips. I don't even want to file my taxes, right? And so you want to keep in mind who you're talking to, who you're creating for, and see if you can make things that can be shareable. So if you're going to offer tips, if you can get that down to 2 minutes and then put in the caption, if you share it somewhere else, hey, here is a 2-minute video, like tell them that it's short. Here's a 2-minute video of things you need to know about filing your taxes. And just make sure you drive home for them, there is value in this video. It is short, sweet, and straight to the point. And if you need more from me, here's the call to action in order to get this deeper, right? So as long as you have those elements surrounding the content, I think what you do in it is really up to you and what you want to hang your hat on. What kind of niche you want to do. Are you going to be the person who gives tips? Are you going to be the person that breaks down the complicated accounting things? Like, what are you going to focus your content on? But make sure you wrap it in bacon. Make sure you wrap it in, this is what it is. This is how I'm going to add value to your life. And this is what you do if you need my service. So as long as you have those elements, I think you'll be good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Kind of dovetail on that, do you have any tips on like driving people to that content?
To YouTube specifically?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I believe that in these digital streets, we have to create somewhat of a digital spider web. And so in all other spaces, whether it is, Instagram or whatever other social media channels, email marketing, if you're doing emails, even on your website, you have to constantly be referring people to the other spaces. And if you all have ever been to a Forge webinar, you know the words I'm about to say. There is a process called big rock content, and it is really important to keep in mind that when you're creating content, how you can cut it up to fit in different spaces and lead people to the next place. And what I mean by that is to say, if you do a 15-minute YouTube video and you want to push people that way, when you create it, have in mind that you want to be able to cut off the first 2 minutes, share it in other spaces, and tell people, hey, you definitely want to see the rest. Or making sure those first couple minutes catch their attention enough to be like, oh no, I need to see what else she said, and make sure they're going that way. But you have to have that in mind when you create the content, right? You can't just go in there looking for 2 minutes that are good. You can, but that's a little bit more stressful. It's a little bit more time consuming, and you're less likely to actually do it. So if you think to yourself, I know that I'm going to give 15 minutes. I'm going to give 5 different tips. I'm going to take the one I think is the most popular and actually just put it on other platforms and tell them, if you think this is good, this is tip number 3. It is not even the best one. Go watch the rest. And so I would say doing that is a really good way to push people that way. Any other questions? I dance when I'm not doing anything, y'all. It's a part of who I am on Zoom. No other questions? Y'all are quiet.
Group.
Listen,
you just
if y'all
covered
ask
everything.
me at one-on-one, it's gonna cost you, so you better ask. The invoices roll at one-on-one. So if you have a question, you let me know. And it could be about anything marketing related, sure.
So do you think, I don't hear enough about what's that social media platform where you can take a video, then it disappear? I really don't hear
Snapchat.
anything. Snapchat, yeah. So like you said
Snapchat.
before, things will change. So do you think these spaces we're in, because Facebook may develop to something else, we just don't know it yet,
Facebook
So
is so far into the world. If it ever disappears, I will be shocked. It may dwindle in popularity, which is already beginning, but it's going to be there for a while. But you're right, Lakeitha. And this is why, again, back to the whole point of this particular, time, is the core stuff has got to be the thing. And I say that because Snapchat is still alive and well. They have all kinds of marketing things that they built into it, just like you're a little different from something like TikTok, where you don't have a discover page. You think about Instagram, you can go search stuff and you get all this stuff that comes up. Snapchat does that, but they have like branded stuff and all of that. So they have this kind of newsreel media aspect to it. And so it's still there. But again, you have to remember that it's important to build these core marketing things and create, capture, and keep authentic audiences, so that as the new things pop up, if you want to give it a try, sure, right? Like, never think that me saying make sure your audience is there is not saying don't try it. By all means, go try it. If it fits into that space, great. But there's only one way to know that: knowing who you are, knowing where your audience is, and knowing if the content you're creating even fits into that space. If I'm a service provider, if I'm trying to, make myself appear to be an expert at something, and I'm giving you stuff that's disappearing, where is the value in that? It's like a secret. I want to maintain our relationship. So I wouldn't do Snapchat myself, but there are a lot of brands that thrive on Snapchat. There are a lot of brands that thrive on TikTok. It's something for everyone. That's why they become so popular. It's working for someone, but you got to know who you are at your core and have thought about these things. Are your luxury people on TikTok? The answer is actually yes, by the way. But you want to make sure that you know that, right? You want to make sure that they can get caught up into these 10 seconds of you doing the silhouette challenge. But when before you had on Fendi and Gucci and they're like, yes, that's my life. Like, sometimes that's your audience. That's fine, but you've got to know that.
All right, we have a few more questions that came in. So one, how could I come up with an ideal avatar for our business? We're looking to make sure we are marketing to the right people. We believe we are, just making certain, as we have not specifically created an avatar.
The answer is to specifically create an avatar. And you're going to have multiple. And so I always encourage people to just go through the exercise of telling the story of a person who you want to be talking to. Good marketing always has someone in mind. So anytime you put up posts, or anytime that you are creating website content, things of that nature, ads, whatever, you want to know who you're talking to. So let's say that person is Kim. She is my target. And you may know the person, or you may have a client that you've worked with that's like perfect. And you're like, yes, I'm going to build my avatar on this person, so that when you market to them, you know what kind of life they live, where they are when they get up in the morning, where they get their Starbucks, whatever the case is. You know enough about their story to market directly to them. You want to be talking to them every single time. This is for Kim. It's not for the world. It is for Kim. I'm going to talk about soccer because Kim has kids that play soccer. I'm going to talk about gum because Kim chews gum and she has enough for everybody, right? I'm going to talk about where she goes to work. She's downtown, she's at Pizzitz. She doesn't mind walking around. So geolocation matters to Kim. She wants something in walking distance. She works out, she's in good shape. Like, knowing that makes it real easy for me to put something on Instagram that's going to catch Kim's eye. And so I would just encourage you to create some avatars if you've already been in business or in the organization for some time. If there's been someone who you're like, they are who we're after, build it on them, make a couple scenarios of their story, and then insert yourself into their story throughout the day. And that's where you have your marketing opportunities.
And if Leslie, if you are looking for like a specific tool to help you do this, I'm sure there's plenty of things online that you could just like, what's the word I'm looking for? Just like little
plug and play.
A template.
It's like you
like
answer questions template. Yeah.
That gives you.
And it's really just
questions.
usually a series of questions, like, you know,
yeah,
tell their story basically. And that's what those templates usually are.
Okay, we are getting close to the end of the time. There are still questions to be asked. So one of the things that we always make sure at Forge is that we end when we say we're going to end. So I'm just going to give you a few last things, but if you want to stay, we will address these questions. But as people will be leaving at 1 o'clock, I did just want to remind y'all of a few things for Forge. So one is, to RSVP for Connect. If you are interested in growing your business network, we would love for you to join us. We will be taking founding members through the end of March. So after that, founding member pricing will go away. There's just 30 of those spots. And a small plug for Forge. Forge members will always have a free membership at Connect. If you are interested in Forge, learning more, becoming a member, what we do, this little QR code takes you right to that screen. And we would love to see y'all next week for our final marketing foundations event, webinar, Zoom call, whatever you want to call this. It will be great. And we really hope that this time has been great for you in getting back to the basics of your business and seeing how you can apply that to where you are today. So 2 weeks ago, we had Gail Rogers from the Atomic Agency come, and he talked about Google My Business listing, like how important that is, how you set it up, the key elements to really stand out in Google. Last week, we had Matt with Uptick Marketing talk about SEO, the importance of really intentionally planning what's on your website and how to build organic strength within your brand through your SEO on your website. We will send up a follow-up email with links to those videos because they're very important. We will also have a video recording of this, but I forgot to press record for the first like 1 minute. So we just missed Jackie's introduction of herself, but I let her do it again. So it's gonna be okay.
Shame.
It's just not gonna have a pretty clip at the beginning. But we will follow up. We will follow up with an email for y'all with all of these videos. And we'd love feedback if there are different topics you'd love to hear about, just let us know and we will see what we can do to address those topics. So now if you need to leave, don't feel awkward because we've said it's okay to leave, but there are a few more questions. Jackie, if you have time to go through those questions. Okay,
I won't
great.
start the invoices at 101. I'll start them at 116.
You what?
I said I won't start the invoices going at 101. I'll start them at 116.
Okay. Well, we'll get them in before 116. Okay.
Also, before we do that, let me also say thank you to Forge. It was such a wonderful team of people who love me so much, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity. While I listen to the question, I'm going to mute because my child has brought his iPad into the room, but I'm listening.
Okay. All right. And I will say, small plug for Jackie, on our website, we have most of our we have a lot of our lunch and learns, all of our webinars, anything that Jackie does, all of them are good, but anything that Jackie does, you need to go back and watch. She did one, Jackie, you'll have to remind us what the topic is, the title is, but she talks specifically about those 9 squares on Instagram. So while she addressed it today, there's one that specifically goes into planning around that. It's really good. So You can go back and watch that one as well. Do you remember the title, Jackie?
Don't make me lie. It's actually called Big Rock Content. How to
Is
do
it? Is
something.
that the Big Rock one? Anyways,
You mean
it's on there.
is that the one you're talking about, the turkey?
No, not the turkey. The one where you talk about the 9, like how you plan out your 9 squares on Instagram.
It's an Instagram one. Yeah, I'll find it. I have it on my own.
It's on our website, so y'all will just have to
Yeah.
scroll through the website. But here's a question from Leslie. She says, how many platforms should we focus on to be profitable, and how do we determine which one to use?
So, my advice here is, especially if you're doing your own marketing, is that you really should do as many as you can handle, which that answers probably 1 or 2. And I know that because I have to hire people to do more than 1 or 2 for my own business, and I know how to do it, right? So it's advisable to try to focus on one majorly, right? Where's your audience the most? They're going to lean one way or the other. A lot of people who are Instagram users are also on Facebook. They're also on LinkedIn. They're also in other spaces. But where are they the most, right? Where do they, and there are all kinds of, you can Google the statistics about different platforms to find out who's there, what the demographics are, and how much time they spend in their day in those different places. So you match that up with what you decided about your customer avatar, about your audience, and then just go with the numbers. So I would focus my energy in one place where I know my audience is. I think it's always good to have a secondary place. I tend not to get people to go to like 3 and 4 and 5, right? You can have a presence in those places and you can maintain them in a really simple, like, I'm just going to repeat post way, but you should focus your interaction and engagement in one specific place, and then have kind of a sub place where you maybe have a heavy following, maybe it's their second favorite, and you want to make sure you're in both of those places. But beyond that, just having a presence that you don't let go dead for more than, a couple days or, so is fine. But I would focus in one place, follow the numbers. That's my advice on which ones. You need to follow what works for you, for your industry. Google is your friend. Go get those statistics and just follow the numbers.
Yep. Okay, here's a question. As a 22-year-old, I feel that TikTok is quickly becoming the new Instagram, as Instagram is becoming less and less popular. I did not realize that as a 40-year-old. How should marketers and strategies deal with these shifts, especially as Instagram could still be a useful tool?
So you're asking how marketers can deal with it? Well, so here it's always back to that point, is it's always going to be something new, right? Always. And if we have been paying attention to the behind the scenes messiness of social media, Instagram has tried to buy up a lot of these little platforms and integrate them into their platform. And when they say no, they just make their own version of it. So Snapchat had that problem, and so they made stories. And then TikTok came along, and then they made reels, right? These were all kind of, hey, this looks great. Why don't you let us buy it from you and integrate it, your technology into ours? They're like, no, we want to make money ourselves. And they're like, oh, fine, well, reels, here you go. They can do that same thing over here. And what we did see is a lot of people take their TikTok content and just put it in Instagram and become viral all over again, right? And so you end up with this space. But it's true that, with Instagram, that demographic is a lot higher in age now than it used to be. And now Facebook is like way higher. And so you just want to make sure that as a marketer, I think to myself, again, back to those core things, is my audience even there? Because there are a lot of people I know that'll watch reels that will not go to TikTok to save their life, but they will watch that same content on Instagram. It even says TikTok on it. They will go and watch it. Kim is one of those people. And there are a lot of professionals that are like that. They don't see the value in what they feel like is aimlessly scrolling through TikTok, watching people dance and point at letters. And so they can't get into that. And so it depends on the audience. But I don't think that it's something where you have to kind of even pick one or the other. I say it's one of those times where you try TikTok, something like TikTok, see if it works out. And if so, if there's another space to just reuse the content, you keep reusing it until one of them dies out. I hope that answers that
Okay,
question.
last question, and Claudia's not even here, but it's a good question. So if you have a good answer. Are there any good free tools for finding optimal tag words or hashtags for SEO?
You know, free is the word there, but there are some tricks out there. And you know, speaking of things like social media, I always encourage people to follow what the trend of things in the platforms you're using are telling you. So I oftentimes, and I think even in that webinar you're referring to, Kim, I show people how when you go on Instagram and you search for a thing, it begins to show you all the things that people search and what's most popular. And I encourage people to use that as a guide. Go to Google, type in one of those buzzwords or keywords that you know is a part of your industry. If you feel like you need to be specific to a city, just make sure you have it where it's specific to your audience, and then let Google show you what people search. Like, it's going to tell you what it's expecting you to say. And that expectation is rooted in actual searches. It's not even a guess. It's not even a brand thing. It's like, hey, based on what we know, you've got to be about to say this, right? You can use that to guide you, and that's totally free because it's already available, you know, on these interwebs. But you can do
There's
that in
also a
Instagram.
Google, there's a
Go ahead.
Google, I can't believe I just forgot the name of it, but there's some Google platform.
Yeah,
It's like,
Google has
what is it?
all the
Where
tools.
you can search keyword,
Ha-
you can search
yeah.
like top searches, but I can't remember. It's not, you don't go to google.com. It's like,
But you can go to
something
google.com and put
Google.
in find keywords, and I'm sure it's
Find
going to put its own
keywords.
content at the top. So
Yeah.
you can just look for it, but follow what those
Yeah.
search engines tell you. You don't necessarily have to use a third-party platform. If you want to just start where you are, just let these search engines tell you what they're expecting you to say, and you pick out what applies to you. And that's a good way to get started.
Yep.
Bless you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Well, look, we're 10 minutes short of an invoice. So thank y'all so much for being here. Jackie, thank you. It was
Thank you.
so good. And just as a reminder, we will follow up with an email with this video, and Jackie put her email address and website in the chat. So feel free to reach out to Jackie. We think she's pretty awesome. And hopefully we'll see y'all next week.
Bye.
Bye.